going on? I ain't doing no weird stuff. My name is Ishmael, artist from Philadelphia, junior, actually no, senior, you know what I mean? Like flex, senior.
About to get that bachelor's.
You dig me? I'm just here. So, the person that I have to my right is my man, like my homie. Somebody that I can say when I'm creating anything, I'm always saying to myself, like, what would Neven do? You know, what would Neven say? Like, can I, and he nice. I ain't even gonna do, like, go ahead, introduce yourself, bro. Introduce yourself.
You already know. Neven Hicks. Got an Instagram at Nevhead. No, nonsense, Nevhead. That's it. Do YouTube videos, do creative stuff. On and off again with the accounts and stuff like that. But nothing much with me. Just like I just do a couple things here and there.
Okay, so you just graduated.
Oh yeah, I did. Graduated middle school. Then started 9th grade. I guess in like September, something like that.
Right.
I'm not sure. I don't know when this pandemic was.
So it's obviously as a black man in America, what effect does school have on you? Like, do you like school? Do you feel like you go to school and you relate, or do you feel like you an eyeball?
I think that it's a double-edged sword because sometimes there are teachers who like really care and they give you like valuable information that's, I guess you could say, like not in the curriculum. But then again, like there's a lot of things that I can learn just from like being outside or being in the environment more often, much less like school. Because school, you're in a confined space. You learn what they teach you, what they want you to learn and stuff like that. But sometimes it can like blindside you from the real stuff that's going on.
Do you feel like you get more from the teachers, or do you feel like you get more from like teaching yourself?
I think I get more from teaching myself because, don't get me wrong, teaching, like, teachers, they do help because there's, like, math or studies, like, there's some stuff that I would not know if I were to, like, teach myself, but then there are other things to where I can just, like, because you have to learn, like, I think you can learn every day or something like that. That's, like, a saying. But, like, I can just, like, do anything, or I can just look up on social media and stuff, and I can see like the problems and stuff that's going on. Right. So it'll just give me my own opinion about things like that. So yeah, I guess I think I get more out of teaching myself because it gives me an idea of how I want to react around certain stuff.
Right. Yeah, and I think that I'm the same way. I think that most of the stuff that I've learned or experienced has taught me more than like being in the classroom. And I think that for me, because I'm a psychology major, so for me, being in class teaches me like I guess like the technical parts of it, but being like outside in the world teaches me the application of it. Like being with, like I remember one time, you were with my dad and I when we went down to West Philly. We were playing in the park, and like you were doing like I had you like doing push-ups or something like that, and you were crying. And remember, I used to say like when you would start crying, I would give you like multiplication tables and all that other stuff. I was trying to say, think through the pain and all that crap. And I remember saying to myself, I had to come to the realization that I was trying to make you tough. And the reason that I was doing that was because when I was your age, I was like quiet and introverted. And I don't remember what snapped, but I remember during either that moment or some other moment like that, I had to say to myself, you weren't like me. And for me to practice some sort of extreme molding, for lack of a better way of putting it, just so that you could be tough was unfair to you, because maybe tough love isn't what you need. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe just like, so now we've been able to have conversations about things that are going on. We've never had a situation where I was yelling at you or you was frustrated to the point where you couldn't talk or different things of that nature. And I think that what that's taught me is, you know, we as black people, we create this narrative that we have to beat our children in order for them to understand or in order for them to get the picture, where some of them might just need conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like some of them might just need, like, I don't know, some of them might just need, you know, understanding, like somebody that'll look at things from their playing field. But the thing is, I don't think that we understand things from our playing field. Like I can say what all this stuff looks like from a 30-year-old perspective, you know, seeing all these murders and things of that nature. But how does that translate for you, seeing somebody like a Tamir Rice that was 12 years old, somebody that was Michael Brown at 14? How do you look at those things in comparison to yourself? Like, how does that make you feel looking at this?
Sometimes fearful. I can be like sometimes fearful of this stuff because, for example, like you said, Tamir Rice and I can't think of anyone. Yeah, Michael Brown, stuff like that. Because they were like the same age, you know, like they were doing nothing wrong. It sometimes scares me because like the society that we live in, if it could go down to like that age, to where like cops or police officers or people that like think of us as inferior to themselves, like think like, oh, he's not doing the right thing, or it comes up with some kind of reason to think that we're different from them. It like puts me in like a negative like perspective on the people who are like negative to us, I guess you could say. So like I said, I am scared of that, but also like it keeps me focused on like what to do around certain people, or like how to like react around certain things, like I said earlier. So yeah.
That's interesting because I know that when I came back from school this time, I was depressed. Like, I was depressed because I wanted to get out of Philly, and I did. And I was like, I felt like I was on a roll. I felt like I was, you know, because at first, my first 2 years, I felt like I wasn't supposed to be there. And a lot of times I sat in the lunchroom, a lot of times I sat in my classroom, and I would just be astounded at the fact that I was sitting in the classroom, or I was like at school. And honestly, it was because I never thought that I would make it to 30 years old. You know what I'm saying? I never thought that I would be alive to even see myself doing these things. So to come back, I had a hard time creating when I came back this time. Like, I had a hard time creating. I was depressed. I was angry. I didn't feel like doing anything. You know, so how do you manage at 14 years old at that? How do you manage to create through destruction?
I just try not to think about it as much as possible, because sometimes, you know, like if you stop working, then you'll overthink things when you try to come back, because like, oh, what if it isn't like this? So then you try to like match things with other things, and like it'll confuse you too much, and then sometimes you might want to take another break and like rethink through the process and stuff like that. But it's really stressful. So like sometimes you have to just like keep working or just writing down like ideas and stuff like that. But yeah, how I like create through destruction, I guess is pretty much I really just try my best. Like there are times like, because I'm not really consistent most of the time when it comes to like my videos. I do try, like, but there's just like, you know, like I have a life too.
You have a life?
Yes.
Okay, all right, I believe you. I'm just believe you. You know what I'm saying? I gotta believe you on that one. I don't know, but I believe you. That's cool. That's cool.
But yeah, like you just gotta do what you can, and just work through it. Just work through the hard times and stuff.
Do you feel like you're creating freely, or do you feel like because because you, like, as a creator, you have to be consistent. So you got to keep putting stuff out. You know what I'm saying? So do you feel pressure to keep putting stuff out, or do you feel like you're creating from a free space?
Yes and no. I feel like I'm creating from a free space because I can just come back whenever I want with a brand new like idea and stuff like that. But then there are times where I'm pressured. It's like if if I stop making videos, I can become like irrelevant like that because there's always someone else out there who might be consistently putting out content or a new trend or something like that that I'm not following on because I'm not doing videos every day, so I can't like catch on to them. So, but yeah, like no, that's
Um, I think that my generation would say that is relevant is a bad word. Yeah, because that's like relevancy is only contingent upon the time that it allows itself. You know what I'm saying? Like the guys that were doing comedy, dressing up like women. At some point in time, that got old. TikTok, the different challenges, all of that stuff is going to become old. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like relevant is a very tricky word to use. And you're in a very interesting predicament as a creator to want to create in a time where, like you said, like people are fickle. I can like everything you're doing right now, but it take one tweet for me to be like, oh, you can't.
Yep.
So that's. So how did you start creating anyway? Like what got you into doing it?
I got inspired from other people watching YouTube videos and stuff like that, and like, cause I had the stuff like if I found out that I could just record stuff on my phone, and then I started out pretty choppy, like I didn't start off like pretty good, but like at the time I was inspired, so I just wanted to like make videos, and it started out with like simple stuff, but there was this one comment on Instagram in one of my videos that said like I should use iMovie, and I didn't know what iMovie was. So then I started using that, and then I found out there was another app called Power Director. So then I started using that on my phone, and now I'm just like basically just like building up. But like to what's called get back on track. Yeah, I got inspired because of watching other people that were like doing the same thing. So I just wanted to do that too.
Do you feel like that's your niche? Do you feel like that's just something that's a hobby?
Both. I think it's a niche because I want to do it professionally, but there are often like other times where I feel like I just want to do this like whenever I can, like because if I do it like because I don't know when I want to do it professionally, but if I do it when I'm not ready, then I'll try to what's it called? Like I said, I won't be ready for myself, and I'll be like off balance and stuff like that. So right now, I treat it as a hobby, just like it's something to do, and I try to like not be lazy with it and stuff like that, because other people are watching this, so it's not like it's just for myself. But yeah, in the meantime, I do want to do it professionally, but for right now, yeah, it is a hobby.
You got a girlfriend?
I do not.
By choice?
Yes.
Why by choice? It's the summertime, right? You know what I mean? Why not? Why not be on a? I mean, if you're single, you on the market, so why not? You know what I mean?
Because it's a lot of players out here.
What that mean?
Where they like lean you on, and then
I don't want to be a player no more. I'm not a player. I just crush it. You don't even know who that is. That's okay. That's all right though. We just all right. So you saying like it's a lot of? You mean women as players?
Not all, but like the people around my age group, I guess. Or something.
You had to give me a little bit more. I mean, you gotta give me a little bit more understanding. I don't know what you mean. Sorry, take your time, bro.
I don't have like the actual definition.
All right, so can I give you mine then, so that we can work from that one?
Okay.
All right, so when you say that somebody is a player, I would assume that you mean more emotionally. Like they'll lead you on, but not really want nothing from you. They might even spend your money, but don't plan to put nothing back in your pocket. Basically, I'm gonna waste your time as much as possible because you're giving it to me.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's what I'm.
So you telling me there's 14-year-old girls right now? You telling me there's 14-year-old girls right now that's out here giving people the scoop?
Yes.
That's interesting. I didn't know that. Okay. All right. So I mean, okay. So I you know what I realized about like. So okay, then how do you feel about dating? Like, is that something you even? Because we've had those conversations before.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you date then? Because you at that stage now where you date. But if that's your thought process, how do you walk into?
I'm now I try to be like I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical sometimes because
Man,
like
you Jada Smith.
No.
You Jada Smith out here in the street.
But yeah, like they be wildin', so
Maybe okay.
yeah, so like anytime when like a girl like approaches me or something and we like get to talking and stuff like that, I try to like just stay back a little bit, just like see what's up with her, stuff like that.
And I think that with me, I think at 14, I don't think I was dating. And grandma was so bent on me not dating that I became socially awkward when it came to me. So then that turns into, for you saying that you have like standards, expectations, you're trying to figure stuff out. I didn't figure any of that out until now. Like I didn't figure any of that out until now. So I think that that's decent that you got like a 16. You got like a 16-year head start about like having some sort of standard of the women that you date, because it ain't nothing like wasted time. It ain't nothing like wasted time, and it's nothing like wasted money. Because unfortunately, I said, man, that's what we're told we're supposed to provide. We're supposed to provide support. We're supposed to provide period. And the right woman, in my opinion, I think will, and that's what. So I remember my engineer telling me that God created Adam. Well, he created the earth first, creatures and all that other stuff. And then he created Adam, and he told Adam to name all the creatures. And then he created Eve. Eve was supposed to be helping. And what he said was, us as men, we have to understand the idea of maintaining our kingdom, whatever that might look like. And then that's when God will send you a helper. So I think that what happens is a lot of us are doing like miscellaneous dating, where we date without any sort of real direction. For me personally, you date without any real direction. There is no conversation about expectations. There is no conversation about like what you want from the other person. A lot of times when sex becomes involved, there's a lot of emotions from people who don't have emotional intelligence. That was one thing I learned about myself. Because emotional intelligence is you dealing with your own emotions in comparison or contrast to the other person's. And that's something you gotta know. Because as a man, if you can't control your emotions and you're dealing with a woman who can, you can scar her emotionally. Or on the flip side, if you are a man that can and you're dealing with a woman that can or doesn't know how to, then you might end up in an abusive relationship, right? On both sides as well, but you know, just for the sake of being fair. So I think that, and what's interesting is you kind of like you got it bad, man. Like a lot of stuff y'all got nowadays, y'all just got it bad because it's like so instantaneous. Like y'all want everything right now, and like y'all don't have no real. This is a subjective old person speaking, but y'all don't have no real values. What do y'all value in relationships? You stopped talking to Shorty because she got boneless chicken wings instead of the regular joint. You don't
Oh, to repeat that again? You gotta do this for the camera one more time.
He did, bro.
You stopped talking to a girl because she got boneless wings, bruh? Damn, that's cold, man. That's cold, man.
If that's where your value system is.
That's cold. You the player.
Yeah, bro, yeah. How you jaded? How you jaded kiss and you dumping people over chicken wings, bro?
I don't know.
That's cool. I mean, so I said all that to say y'all value system is different. Not to say that we know better, because we didn't learn. It's all systemic. It's all generational. You know, our fathers, I didn't really get to know my dad, like knowing, until just now. When him and grandma got married, 23, moved in, we was all living together. And even now, I've learned more about him in the pandemic than I've learned about him in years. You know what I'm saying? So I think that one thing that's dope is like, so being that I said that, I didn't have my dad around to see how he interacted with my mom. How do you view your parents' relationship with dating?
I think if I watch Friends, I think it's like Ross and Rachel, pretty much, where it's just on and off again, on and off again, on and off again. I think it's pretty heavy. Yeah. So my parents, they're not as good as they should be. Because my dad, he's very, I don't know how to put it. He's very, like, I guess you could say protective. I'm trying to find a better word for it. But there are times he's closed-minded. That's a big factor in my parents' relationship, because my mom will try to explain certain things, or like try to give him topics from like a different perspective or another point of view. Most of the time it's her point of view, like how she views things and stuff like that, and he'll try to just like completely like steamroll her and like convince her of his point of view. But I mean, you know, most people like do that. That's like how conversations are, like arguments and stuff like that. But the thing is that he doesn't even try to consider her side.
Right.
So when they've been dating for like 17 years, so when if you're like my mom and you get that constantly, like day to day, because like I asked her yesterday, I said, did you call her? Did you call him on the weekend? And she said, I call him every day. So she like wants to talk to him, but if he like has that type of like perspective and stuff like that, over time, like 17 years over time, that could get like pretty annoying for someone. But also, no offense, my mom, she sometimes, well, both of them actually, sometimes they can like it'll be like something like little that's said, and like sometimes my mom will say something smart and try to act like she didn't say it, or try to like segue it to like a different topic, or just try to get like around it. because my dad will catch on to stuff like that. So like he focuses in conversations and stuff like that. So then, but he'll get like butt hurt, I guess. And he'll be like, well, why are you saying that? Because like my mom, sometimes like if something doesn't go her way, or like I said earlier, like my dad doesn't consider her side, she'll get like a little like a jerk a little bit, I guess you could say. Not that she's a jerk, just saying like to him sometimes. Cause like she'll do things and like in spite of like things that have already happened and stuff like that. So it's pretty much back and forth. Like he did this, so I'm gonna do this to him, and then he's gonna react this way, and then she's gonna do something, and then he's gonna react this way and stuff like that. So it's back and forth. I just think that, well, I think what my dad needs to work on is understanding what other people have gone through, because he's also a lot of stuff happened in his childhood. So I guess he doesn't like tend to adapt to new things, because I'm guessing from experience, every time he's done that, like something negative has happened to him. So he tries to like just stick with what he knows, but he doesn't try at all, and then that goes back into like what I said earlier about how he's closed-minded and stuff like that. Because if there are like new things going on, or there's something important that needs to be heard, if you have that like mindset, if you have a mindset like that where you're like, no, it's this way, and then you don't want to or try to understand someone else, then it could get like toxic basically. So
That's what happened with my dad is real. This is it. And my dad is like this. And my mom is like this as well. But I think in some aspects she's a little bit more flexible. And that's never a good combination when you have a person like, my dad was talking to somebody the other day, and I was like, he's sonning her. It was a grown woman, and he was talking to her like she was a child. And it's interesting because, so then, is your dad like that toward you?
I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that he is. I guess he's just like trying to teach me as much as possible, but he's afraid like I might. Well, I don't know. I'm not him, so, but I think that he might think that I like won't want to listen or something like that. So, I mean, there are times where like, because people don't listen to my dad that often. So I kind of like makes him upset most of the time. So then he'll just start out like right at the gate, do this, do that, stuff like that, because he's sick of it. So I mean, I try my best to act, like calm, normal around him, because I don't want him to like pop off, stuff like that. But
You walk on eggshells.
eggshells,
Not necessarily tiptoeing around like his feelings, but you try to do as much as you can to make sure that it's leveled. You ain't gotta.
yeah, cause he scares me. I'm scared of him because
What do you mean?
like he earlier, well, most of it was my fault, but like when I was younger, I used to steal and like do things that other things that I'm not like proud of. Most of it was stealing, but and all the time I would get like punished for it, like how you're supposed to. So, but the thing is, like, I would do it too often, and sometimes just like I don't want to like say the wrong thing. Like now, I don't want to say the wrong thing, or I want to get my point across, but not like violently, or in a way he'll interpret it as something else. Like I want to make sure that he really understands what I'm saying, because if he thinks that it's something else, then he might like get upset at that.
So what's what's I guess like twofold question. What's one thing about your what's one thing about your parents' relationship that you like and that you try to implement, or that you'll try to implement in your own relationship? And then what's one thing about your parents' relationship that you don't like and you want to avoid?
One thing that I do like is how, because like I said, like they argue their back and forth a lot, but one of them, it's always at least one of them, tries to like make it like make up or make it better or something like that. Because if either of them didn't try, then the relationship would like fail. But since they're like been together for 17 years, that means like they still care about each other. So like the fact that they can go through like all of that and stuff and like still be together, what I would like to implement is that I want to have that same type of caring, because that means that it doesn't matter how much like we hate each other, it doesn't matter how much we're going through, we still care about each other, then like we'll be okay. So
You get mad, but that don't mean you gotta stay mad.
And one thing that I don't like about my parents' relationship is that it's just like they don't want to improve, or maybe they do want to, or they just don't try hard enough. Because like it seems as if like it's just like on repeat, like, or autopilot or something like that. Because my dad, like I said earlier, he's closed-minded, and my mom, she's like spiteful sometimes, and they just like don't seem to like want to improve on the stuff that they're at fault. Because my dad and both of them obviously know that they have problems and stuff like that, but I don't really see them working on it that well. Because if they did, the problems that they have would either happen a lot less, or like I wouldn't see it as often, or they would stop in general. Because if it's been happening for 17 years, that means that there's something that's consistent that they're not working on. What I don't like is that they don't want to, like, they're not helping each other, I guess. Because if daddy has his own point of view and he only thinks this way, then he's not helping my mom out. And if like, because they're also what's it called, in two different religions and stuff like that. So if they're like in two different directions, how can they like come together and like build together and stuff like that if they're like in two completely different paths?
So once again, first I want to thank you for having the conversation, for being open to the conversation, and I want to thank you for answering honestly. I guess the last thing that I want to ask is, what are you, 14, let's say 30, what do you want to see transpire in the world? How do you, if somebody could ask you a solution for all of this stuff to stop, not stop, but start the conversation of it stopping, where do you think we should start? Where do you think?
I think that we should start working on ourselves first, because everything, like social media, is based on opinions or things that are from someone else's point of view. Like when we're on a screen or watching a video, it's from that person's point of view, and then you build your own opinion from their opinion. But in order to like work like in society, or like a solution for it, as you said, we need to work on ourselves more instead of worrying about other people. Because I mean, not to say that you can't, not to say that you're not supposed to just like forget about everything that's going on, because you need to like be able to know that information like as it's happening, so you can like what's it called, adapt to it. But you can't prioritize your time or your effort and stuff like that into someone else's world. Like you have to focus on your own first, because racism is about how, not just white people, about how a certain race thinks of another as inferior to itself. So if it's one race that doesn't like another race, then either race has to figure out what they're doing wrong, so they can work on that, and then after that, then they can work with the other race and see like what's your problem, and then they like build together. They can't just like work. Yeah, so like certain races, they have to work on themselves before they try to help or hurt others, because like we're all opinionated, stuff like that. So like in order for us to come together, there's only like one way for that to happen. Like we have to work on ourselves, because if we keep continuing to just, oh, we're gonna do this with this race, or we're gonna try to help out with this race, like the riots going on and stuff like that, like there are police officers, some of them like kneeling and like shaking hands with like black people and stuff like that, and that does help. But I mean, it's not enough, because not everyone in that race thinks the same way that they do. There's only some white people and stuff like that. All of us black people, we feel that we're being mistreated. It's because we are, stuff like that. So we have to adapt, and we have to basically survive in this type of place. But we're all together. We're all together. Like we know what we want. We want like equality,
Justice.
that's yes. But we don't know what white people want. I don't know what they want. But it's not obviously like it's not anything good for us anyway. So like we have to either like leave them alone or stop trying to appeal to them and stuff like that. Because if they're thinking that way, then and we're thinking two completely different things, like we either have to agree to disagree and just like back up and leave each other alone and do other things with our lives, or we have to like accept the fact that we are one and the same. Because like just because I have this and someone else has something different doesn't mean that we are different.
Thank you.
I guess because I don't know.
The first time I ever been hit with, you ever see those wires? That was my whooping. Plenty of times, like, grandma and mommy, your mom would fight. One time I remember, I don't know if you remember that song that I wrote, my letter to Neven, and I was saying, I had made a reference of your mom being dragged through the door frame, chicken because I think grandma was vegetarian at the time, and I don't remember what happened. All I know is they got into like some little argument, and she drug her like through the door